So welcome to the video, guys. I want to make a video explaining that I moved from California to Texas. I've been in Texas for 3 months and I want to explain what it's been like and how it's been treating me. So the big question is, why move from California to Texas? The number one reason was, I think a lot of people in my generation are struggling with this and they're trying to buy their first home. Back in California, I make a decent living. I would consider myself middle class. And the problem we're having is we got married and we're saving up money to buy our first home, have the American dream. Well, houses in California, at least where I lived, which was in Arcadia, Pasadena area, was very, very expensive. An average home in California, unless you're living way far in the desert or way far, not even north is even more expensive because that's close to San Francisco and all that tech stuff out there. On average, most houses you were lucky if you can find a house around me for $450,000. We looked at a couple condos that were $350,000. It was gonna be like an hour commute, and then on the way home was gonna be a 2-hour commute. It was right at the top of our budget of buying a house. It was gonna be a condo and it was run down and there wasn't really enough garage space and it just didn't add up to me. 3 years back on my birthday, we came out to Texas to visit, at the time, my girlfriend's family. Now she's my wife. Out here in Texas in the Fort Worth area. So you know kind of where that's at. We're kind of in the mid-city section, close from Dallas. Dallas is about 25 minutes away. So we came here 3 years ago. We came out here and I told my wife like I could see ourselves living here. Granted, we came here in the summertime, so it was super hot. So we haven't experienced winter. So we kind of took winter as a leap of faith. I wanted to move because properties here in the area that I want to live in, a pretty decent area, was half the price of $400,000. You can get a house here for about $160,000 to $250,000. It's still something you can purchase here, which is right at our price range to buy a home so we can live very comfortable. And that's the goal I wanted, and have a home, not a condo, and only be away 30 minutes from work, not 2 hours away from work was the goal. We talked about it and then we made the choice to make the move. We ended up finding out that it's the best choice financially and for our family to grow. We have family here, which is cool. So we're not in a state where we don't know anybody. The second thing was coming out here was to have a new start. On top of that, California is getting so packed with people. It's just harder and harder every day to commute somewhere. And then my stress levels were very high. I spent a week down here driving on the freeways. There's no traffic and my stress levels are way down. If you have a less stressful life, you will live a longer and happier life. So that was my thought process. So those are the two reasons. Finances, being able to afford a home, a house that's really nice, very affordable, and our stress levels will drop a lot because it's a new place and there's not all this people living on top of you, if that makes any sense. That being said, let me explain the process of how I got here, because I know a lot of people, a lot of friends and family that I still follow on Facebook that I went to high school. A lot of people have moved out. A lot of people, either if they were living in California, they either went to Arizona or they went to Texas. And the reason is because it's very affordable to live there. Like I pay gas here for premium gas, like 93 octane. We're paying like $2.35, sometimes $2.50. And you just put the cheapest gas is like $2.05. So that right there is a big difference. Also in Texas, there's no state tax. So when you get your check and it says California and you pay, let's say $100, here you don't do that. The way they get you is when you buy a home, the taxes for your home are a lot higher. Probably close to double than what it is in California. But that's a cool perk if you're a young guy, don't have a home and you're still renting. So that might be in your advantage. So I know a lot of my friends, and I know a lot of you guys are watching, are probably in the same predicament that I am. Now that I've been here for 3 months and I actually just came back from California to pick up some few things that I had, I was still unsure if we made the right choice, but now that we're back, I'm 100% sure that we made the right choice. So if you guys are wondering, I'll get into a little bit of detail what it costs to get out here, just so you guys know. So I lived in Arcadia, which is by Pasadena, where they have the Rose Parade. I think a lot of people know where the Rose Parade's at. And now we live in the mid-cities in the Fort Worth area. So to drive that distance is about 1,400 miles, which we divide in 2 days to get here. And we drove here because it was just the cheapest way to do it. I'm very conscious with my money. I don't like to spend it just randomly. If I can save some money, I will. But let me tell you, if you can't afford to pay somebody to bring your stuff and you fly, I would rather go that route because it's very dreadful to drive 2 days hourly. If you're driving on average 75 miles an hour, it's gonna take you 19 hours to get here. So what we do is we split it up in 2 days. I prefer to go the north route. There's two routes. You can go through the north, like through Flagstaff in Arizona, or you go the south route where you go to like El Paso and all that. The north side is a little, I believe it's a little longer or a little shorter. It's one or the other, but it's a lot more scenic. It's a lot more beautiful scenery, especially when you go through Flagstaff. I love going through Flagstaff, Arizona. It's like the most beautiful place I've ever seen. We split it up in 2 days. The way we did is my wife had a Honda Civic and I had a Toyota Tacoma, which you guys know. We decided to keep the Toyota Tacoma. My wife's car was close to 200,000 miles. And usually when cars get to 200,000 miles, I like to sell them and then buy another car. I always buy my cars cash and I always buy them used. I think the Evo is the only car that I bought from the dealer, and I'll never do that again. In my opinion, I think buying new cars and financing is not the smartest financial choice because cars go down in value so rapidly, and that's just my opinion. Other people have different opinions. I just buy my cars cash. I have kind of a rule where I buy cars for max $10,000. So I just save $10,000 and whatever I can buy with that, I'll buy it. So that being said, we sold my wife's Honda Civic for about, I think I bought that car for $8 grand. I sold it for $4,500 and got rid of that car because just to ship it here was gonna be like $1,000, and I didn't think it was worth it. I just figured I'd save some money and buy another car here. But we ended up getting a sweet deal on that end, and I'll get into detail on that. We start calling companies like those pods, those white pods, or I call like 3 companies that you basically pack it and then a truck comes and picks it up and then puts it in storage and then takes it to your location. I had some kind of curveballs because our apartment wasn't gonna be ready like exactly 30 days from the day that we get to Texas. So we were gonna stay with relatives, and I didn't want to pay for storage because I felt like that was a waste of money. But I ended up paying for storage because it just worked out better that way. So I ended up getting quotes for like the pods, and the prices were outrageous. They were looking. I think the cheapest one I found was $2,800. It went from like $2,800 to like $3,800, and I'm like, that's a lot of money. So I ended up, you know what? I have a truck. I'm gonna tow my stuff in a U-Haul thing. So I ended up going with like a 5x6, or like, it was like not the biggest, but the one down from the biggest. I forgot what size it was. And when I went to get a quote on it, it was like $800 to drive it from California to Texas and leave it in Texas with the insurance. So that was a lot better than the deal I was getting with the pods. The only problem is that you can't fit everything in it. As I went to U-Haul to go book it, I saw this thing that they had. I forgot the name of it. I'll put a picture of it here. But it's a box, like a wood box on a dolly, and that hooks up to a truck, and you load it up and someone drives it up for you. And also I was thinking is like, if I tow something, I'm gonna waste way more gas because the load's gonna be heavier and the aerodynamics are not gonna be as great with having a cargo with your truck. And the Tacoma actually wastes a lot of gas as it is. So what we decided is like, hey, let's get a quote for that. Got a quote for that, came out to like $1,000. And we packed it up. The only problem is that not everything fit. We kind of left like 90% of our stuff fit, and like we left 10% still in California. So we packed that thing, shipped it, got here, we loaded up the truck, drove down to Texas, put my 2 weeks notice, my wife put her 2 weeks notice. We had jobs waiting for us. Actually, like, go back a few weeks before that, we flew out here and I lined up a couple interviews. I do HVAC, that's what I do for residential and commercial. We landed jobs were waiting for here. We put in our 2 weeks notice. We had a party with our friends and family, say our goodbyes, and then we drove. When we drove here, we went through the north route, and I forgot exactly where we stopped. I think it was Albuquerque, and that was like about a 10 or a 9-hour drive. Stopped there for the night, slept like 8 hours, got back on the road, and then finally got to Fort Worth. When we got here, got with relatives, put our stuff away. The 30 days passed, got our apartment, picked up our U-Haul thing, loaded it up, and now we're here. We're actually, where I'm sitting right now is my garage, so you guys can see. We got this apartment, pretty cool. Another cool thing about Texas that I want to explain is they're very dog friendly. So we have a dog, my French bulldog Dexter, and he did pretty good on the ride. We just took him out. He actually didn't pee or poop the whole way because I think he was nervous. He's never been on a road trip like that. But as soon as he got to Texas, he took care of business. And I felt so bad. On the second trip, because we just went out to Texas for one more time, we went back to California. He peed and pooped. I guess he was used to it now. So that being said, we got our apartment. Our apartment's very cheap, and it's a very high-end apartment in my opinion. It's a one bedroom. I think it's like 800 square feet, but it's all remodeled. Like you have the gray wood floors and like that granite looking kitchen counters. It's all remodeled. It doesn't look old school, which is nice. And for what we pay, and I have a garage. We're sitting in a garage right now. I'll show you some footage of it real quick. Sitting in a garage here, which is pretty cool. It's a single car garage, but at least I could do some videos meantime while we get our house. Texas is pretty cool. You could have your dog here. And most apartments in California, it's hard to find people that accept dogs. In Texas, it is a dog-friendly state for sure. Every apartment I looked at, you pay like a small fee and your dog can be here, which I thought that was pretty cool as a plus. We've been here 3 months. We came in the tail end of summer and now we're in the winter, like the beginning of winter. Let me tell you, most of the time Texas weather is pretty nice. It's a little hotter and a little colder than California. But the cool thing, it's not like California where like it rains for like weeks straight. Like let's say, usually, I would say in January, it'll rain for like 2 weeks straight. Over here, it'll rain and then like in the morning and then the day it's sunny and then it can just be all over the place. It can feel like summer here and it can feel like winter. It's a really crazy place to be. The only thing I don't like about Texas right now as weather goes is there's no mountains, so like all the cold wind from Canada or the north comes blowing through you. And if you ever been like somewhere where it's like 47 or close to freezing, 32 degrees with the wind chill, it's the coldest experience. Like I was like changing a light bulb on my car and my knuckles went cold and they almost froze off and I felt like I had frostbite. It's very hot here. I work in HVAC and I went in the attic and I almost wanted to vomit, but not a lot of people are used to working in attics. It gets really hot out here. You got to be careful with the sun rays. It's not that it's like, everyone says the humidity, you get used to the humidity really quick. It's just how strong the sun is. Like I feel like it just burns faster. Like the UV rays are stronger. The cold sucks. It's very cold here. I thought like it snowed here, but apparently that's not a thing, at least where I live in the middle of Texas. It doesn't really snow. It's like kind of rare, and if it does, it's like an inch or two. But what does happen is like the freeways, like the on-ramps on the freeways, if they're off the floor and like air can go through the bottom like a bridge, and on top, they get icy and it can be very dangerous. You can slide and understeer and crash into a wall, which is what they were telling me. I haven't experienced that yet, but it's only been like 32 degrees. I think the coldest it got here was 28 degrees. And that didn't happen. I had frost on my windshield, but no frost on the roads. Not too long ago, we had a tornado hit Dallas. That was kind of crazy. Thunderstorms are crazy here. The rainstorms are crazy. One thing, if you're a car guy, that you probably won't like is there's hail. And I've seen hail damage destroy a lot of cars. So that's why it's very important for me to get a garage, because I want to keep my car's garage kept. But I've had friends that have had their cars destroyed by hail. Size of baseballs, just denting the head of the cars. But here in Texas, they insure that and they give you a check to fix that. But if you have a classic car or like, you know, something cool and it's not really replaceable, like I could get, like if you have a 2018 Mustang, like I could get it replaced. But if you have like a 1986 or a 1989 Nissan 240 S13, like, and it's so hard to find nowadays, gets all dented up, it's gonna be kind of sad. And you don't want to go take it to a body shop and get it all fixed. But anyways, that's one thing that sucks about Texas for car guys. I don't really have any friends here that are in the car scene, so that like I'm starting from scratch. Like I don't even know where the car meets are. I don't even know where like car shows are. The only thing I know, which I have to Google, let me check real quick, is there's a racetrack where they do Lone Star Drift, and I think they do FD there. I'm not 100% sure. But I've seen like Adam LZ and Taylor Ray do some drift events out there, which is not too far from me. And I know Evan Shanks also lives in Texas. I don't think he lives too far from where I'm at, based on the tornadoes where those were. Those were in Dallas, so that's pretty close to me. So I'm gonna hit up Evan Shanks actually, see if we can do a short film with him. That'd be pretty cool on all his cars. But there's a racetrack here. But if anyone lives in the Texas area, in the Fort Worth mid-city section, so like I'm talking Keller, North Richland Hills, Bedford, Hearst, which other ones? Colleyville, South Lake, Saginaw, any of those places in the mid-cities, hit me up. Like send me a comment, put a comment down below, or hit me up on Instagram at carsonboard. Here's the Instagram. At the end of my videos, my Instagram's always on there. It's carsonboard on Instagram. But hit me up if you have a cool car we could review or check out, do a short film, or even if there's a car meet, or if you guys know of any place I can go to meet some guys or in the JDM scene, or even in the muscle car scene, leave a comment down below. I want to know so I can go hang out and start like getting connections here, because once I get my house, which is the goal, we should have the house by September is my goal. That's when we're gonna start doing project cars. We're gonna build something for drifting or something. There's two ways I wanna go. I wanna either build a drift car, but I have to have an S13, like that's the car I want, because this car I grew up with. I love that car, and they're so hard to find nowadays. And I want a Silvia, but it's so hard, or a coupe, but it's so hard to find some that I think I'm gonna have to like just go with the hatch. But if I do build a hatch, I want like the Koki tail lights with the Type X wing and slam and the whole deal. Or the other thing I want to build is I've always wanted to build like a classic muscle car, like a 1965, 1966 Mustang, and build it for road racing, so I could do vintage road racing, not autocross, road racing, like on an actual track. But that would be really expensive. But that I've always been to muscle cars, and I always wanted to do that. I had a Cougar 67. I think you guys have seen it in the videos. But yeah, if you guys are in the Texas area, hit me up. I would love to hang out with you guys, or do something, or a video or something. Hit me up. I'm telling you, we'll make this happen. If you guys have any questions for me on this video on moving to Texas or anything, leave a comment down below. I read every comment, and I'll try to reply to you as soon as possible. If you like this video, or if you like the channel, please hit the like button. It really helps us out a lot. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. So I'll give you guys a tour of my garage real quick so you guys can see what it's like. I have a pressure washer, which I want to do a video, but over here they have nowhere to hook up a pressure washer. So when I get my house, I'm gonna start doing some videos on detailing and pressure washer and foam guns and stuff like that. Here's my little toolbox, which I'm gonna do a video. The next video I'm gonna do, I saw one of the YouTubers that I